Before we get into the episode, two quick announcements about Trial by Combat 2023. First, the date and location. Trial by Combat 2023 will be held on June 23rd through June 25th, 2023, in person in Philadelphia at the Kline Institute for Trial Advocacy. On January 17th, 2023, in a few weeks, at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, Justin Bernstein and I will go live on the Trial by Combat YouTube page to announce a tweak to the selection process special for Trial by Combat 2023. The next day, January 18th, 2023, the application for the tournament will go live. We hope you'll join us. So, Aleyna, I want to start with you. You really have put UCSB on the map. You guys got to nationals for back-to-back years. In 2021, you were an All-American witness. And the season's pretty young, but you guys have placed at a couple of invitationals already. What changed within UCSB as a program when you got there that's made it into a powerhouse?
Well, thank you, first of all. That's an honor to be considered a powerhouse. But I think that going into UCSB, first of all, it was 2020, so we were completely online. But I think that we had a lot of newly upperclassmen that were very hungry to be given the positions that they were given. I think before I got there, there was a lot of seniors that had the A-team positions, the A-team statements. And so we had a lot of juniors that were ready and to get started on those statements. And I came into the program knowing that Hunter Wright was going to be there too, just knowing that there were some good mock trialers there. And I wanted to be a part of that program. And so I worked my butt off in the fall season to get that A-team position. And so once we had our A-team figured out for the stacked season, we were just in it to get to nationals. Everybody had it in their minds that it was something that we could do after placing pretty well at some fall invitationals and some early winter invitationals. So we just really wanted to work hard to put UCSB on the map that year.
How is UCSB run? Do you guys have any coaches, or is it entirely student run?
So we are basically completely student run. We have had the pleasure of having alumni that will come back and kind of assist us. And in the online era of Zoom mock trial, that made it a lot easier because we had people that maybe weren't still in Santa Barbara that could help us. But we don't have any law school students really anymore. We don't have any coaches. We don't have attorneys. So it's a lot of figuring it out as we go and then trying to reach out to people when we have questions that we don't have the answers to.
How do you guys make roster decisions in a program like UCSB?
So our executive board is the one that completely makes our rosters and completely makes our stacks. For the fall invitationals, we fill out a preference form for what positions we want for fall, so that we can maybe demonstrate which positions that we think that we'd be good in. But it really comes down to the executive board taking everybody's preferences into account and then also taking past records into account. I was on exec my sophomore year, so that was last year. And it is a lot. I think we were in deliberation for about 15 hours, but we do put a lot of thought into it, and we want to make sure that everybody, or as many people as possible, are getting the positions they think they deserve. How
hard is that as a student-run program, making roster decisions with people who are your teammates, but in some cases are your close friends? I would imagine that's very difficult and can pose some problems. How hard is that?
Yes, to be completely transparent, it is a very difficult process, physically and emotionally, because as a person, I don't like upsetting people. And I knew when I took on a position on exec board that it was going to be inevitable that not everybody was going to be happy. But I think we really try to keep the deliberations transparent and communicate with people if we think maybe that they're going to be in a position that maybe they wouldn't be as happy with. But we really do everything we can to make sure that as many people are happy. For example, one of the questions we have on the preference form is, would you rather be in a position that might not be your first choice, but on a higher team, or would you rather be in that top position on a lower team? So we really try to do the best we can to balance it out, but it is really difficult, especially when you are placing some of your best friends in positions that you know they might not like, but it might be best for the team. So hours and hours of thought went into those positions.
So you guys, nationals back-to-back years, you guys have won All-Americans, you've done well in invitationals, you've won tons of awards. What is the goal for UCSB this year?
We would like to make it to nationals again. We lost a couple of our seniors, but we have a lot of strong people that have come into the program, and we obviously still have returners that have been on B that might be on A this year. So we really think that this isn't necessarily a building year for us. I really think that we have strong people that were waiting in the wings that can now fill in those positions that were gone. And we want to make it to nationals again. And I think that last year we were very close to placing. So we would like to, make it into a top 10 this year.
So you mentioned earlier Hunter Wright, who was someone that you competed against as a high school competitor in California, I would guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, since sophomore year of high school.
What was it like teaming up with him, and what's it like to work with Hunter?
I love Hunter. It has been such a great experience getting to be on the same team with him. Back in high school, he was at Venture Academy and I was at Centennial High School, and we considered ourselves sister programs. Our coaches helped us, or their coaches helped us, and our coaches helped them. And we had a lot of scrimmages together and saw each other at a lot of competitions, the Empires, the Gladiators. And so figuring out that I was going to get to be on the same team with him was really exciting. And also getting to be on a rival team with his brother has been fun too, just seeing all those high school mockers carry it on through college. So Hunter is taking a coaching position this year. He is one of our coaches this year, and he is an amazing resource with the amount of mock trial experience that he has. So we're really excited to be utilizing him in that capacity.
Yeah, Hunter, I got to watch him compete as a high school competitor. And I think as a high school competitor, I would have taken him on my law school team right then and there. He is a fantastic performer, smart, responsive, really likable. And I've never coached him, but just in my conversations with him, just a really nice guy, and seems receptive to wanting to get better and wanting to improve. And I think the sky's the limit for him going forward, whatever he decides to do professionally, whether it's law school or otherwise. So It's really, really cool that you guys got to compete together. I want to turn it over to someone else who was competing against Hunter. Abby, welcome back to the show. Glad to have you back.
Thank you for having me and for putting me with the coolest co-guests every time.
Stop it.
I try my best. So Abby, you are not competing this year. Why not?
Right. I think a lot of what Aleyna explained about student-run programs were a lot of the factors that went into that decision for me. Student-run programs are tough. You've got e-boards making tough decisions about people in the program. It's a huge time commitment. Being on the fall with largely newbie teams, it's just a lot of teaching, a lot of time commitment that goes into that. And I know that anybody on a student-run program knows like all of those factors that kind of just go into those decisions. So the spring of my junior year, when I started studying for the LSAT, was when, for a couple of different reasons, I just decided, you know what, I think this is a huge time commitment for me right now. I need to, work towards the LSAT, work towards law school. So I took a step back then and have continued that through this fall. And of course I miss it. I miss everybody at the program, but we're all such good friends that we see each other anyways. So it's all worked out.
So are you doing anything to sort of stay involved, whether it's Florida State or otherwise? Are you doing anything to stay involved with mock trial generally?
Yeah, of course. I know that anybody that's ever competed in this activity and loved it just cannot stay away. So what I've done is this past fall, judge scrimmages for FSU mock trial, help give like feedback in any way I can. I'm going to help my mom's high school team this spring. They're like going to states. So I'm going to like help her write material and like help them out. And then I've also ventured into moot court. That's something I did this past fall. And it's been cool, but very different than mock trial. I'm missing like the theatrics and the drama of mock trial. So
do you like mock trial better, or is it close?
Of course, I like mock trial better.
Good answer. I'm glad you didn't give the sort of PC answer there to say you like them both. That was the right answer there.
I mean, it's obviously there's a certain skill set where people can be fantastic at moot court. I've learned about myself that I enjoy the like witness crosses and the dramatic closings and all that. So
have you pretty much decided that you're not going to compete in undergrad, in the spring or anything like that?
Yeah. I think for me, undergrad, like that ship has sailed. Unfortunately, of course, I miss it. But I think going into law school is when I'll look to hopefully compete again if it works out for me to be in a program that has mock trial.
I want to ask you guys both about that in a little bit. But before we do, I want to talk about what we're going to watch today. So I turned 30 about a month ago. And even with that, nothing has made me feel old, except for the fact that I realized when prepping for this episode that you guys are both about to graduate. And I remember seeing you as high school competitors, as we're going to see in a second, because I judged your final round of Gladiator. And I cannot believe that you guys are about to graduate college and go to law school. It feels sort of impossible to me.
Yes.
But I'm really excited about what we're going to watch today, the 2019 Gladiator Championship trial, which nobody has seen the video of, not including you two.
Yeah.
I only recently pried it out of Justin's hands, and I have it, and we're going to show it to the world for the first time ever. So one of the things that's been so cool for me over the last couple of years is seeing how good of friends you guys became. Were you good friends at the time of Gladiator?
We had never met.
Yeah.
That was the first time we had
I
ever
knew
met.
no one going into that experience. Like I feel that my high school experience, but specifically my high school mock trial experience, was so insular. Like I didn't know at all what I was walking into. I just know that for a month I was like, this whole thing's on me. I got to know all the parts. Like that was all I went in knowing. And so cool how close so many of us got just from that year of competing.
Yeah.
So it's really strange. Like people that I've competed against, especially in big rounds, like you often sort of grow to hate those people. Maybe not hate.
Strongly dislike.
But for you guys became really good friends after this. How did that happen?
Well, I will say that when my first interaction with Abby, or first watching her, she had actually, you got there late, right? Because your flight had came in late.
Yes.
And I think Justin was mentioning everybody's fun fact, and Abby's fun fact was that she could like completely recite the Law and Order SVU intro. And so he made her do it on the spot. And as soon as she just did that full theatrics, I was like, I am going to be best friends with this girl. It's going to happen.
Because I was terrified going into that, especially the fun fact debacle. Like I was like, this is humiliating. Like this is going to be how people remember me, is that fun fact. Like that's so embarrassing. My first round of the whole competition, I was a witness in Aleyna's attorney round. So we had not hit each other, but she had crossed me in like one of the first rounds. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, thank God I won't go up against her as an attorney, or like, I hope not to, because she's so amazing. Like she'll be in the final round. So that was my first perception of her. Obviously she was so deserving of being there. So
look at us.
Did you see her? Did you see her on the side that you hit her on as in the championship trial?
I don't remember. I can't remember which witness I was. Do you remember, Aleyna?
I think you would have, because I went plaintiff in the last round, like before the semis. So you would have seen me on defense, but I changed my theory for the final round.
That's something
it was different.
I was hoping to talk about too later. Is just that like Aleyna and I were talking about this recently. Our skill sets we've found are so similar, like stylistically, but like inversed. And I remember going into that final round being like, oh my God, this is so reactive to this new witness, because there's always like the big new witness drama of the final round. And I remember thinking, oh my God, she based this whole thing around this new witness, and thinking to myself, like, I could never do that. And so in college, like that was my inspiration to be more reactive in college, because I was like, how is Aleyna doing that in high school? Like I'm relying fully on my scripts. So.
I fully believe you could do that. You won Gladiator.
I learned, I think you could not in high school. I couldn't have.
Yeah. So just for people who don't know, this trial was about the college admission scandal, and specifically the trial was the prosecution of a celebrity parent who had conspired with the government's witness to fabricate test scores and resumes and college applications and things like that. And so for the final round, the daughter of the defendant was added as a prosecution witness, and that witness was played by my then girlfriend, now fiance. She tends to be in involved in a lot of these episodes, even though she's never like actually appeared on the show. She's like a recurring character on the show. But
you should have her co-host with you. Why didn't she co-host this episode?
She's in the house for all the episodes. I don't know that she wants to spend any more time doing mock trial stuff with me than she already does. But so you guys got that witness statement right before the round, and then Aleyna had to. Abby, you directed Jess, and Aleyna, you crossed her, which was so crazy. How much time did you guys have with that witness statement before the trial? I don't remember.
Was it 30 minutes? I don't think it was. I think it was 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something really short. And Jess
Yeah.
was a tough witness too. She did
Yeah.
not roll over at all.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So today we're going to watch the cross-examinations of the other two witnesses, Aleyna's cross of the cooperating witness for the government, and then Abby's cross of the defendant. And we're going to start with Aleyna's cross. So never before seen. Here it is. So normally, yeah, you guys kind of do both look different, which is surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to do is normally I feel very awkward on the show about giving critique to the guests because it's just uncomfortable. But I'm curious to know what you guys watching yourselves 5 years later would change if you were sort of watching this performance and trying to improve it. So keep that in the back of your mind as we're watching, but we're going to start with Aleyna's cross.
What to say when he was contacted by the FBI.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew. Nothing further. Cross-examination.
Proceed.
You stated on direct examination that you were contacted by Mr. Tim.
That's right.
Your Honor, I'm approaching this witness with exhibit 3. Mr. Matthew, you recognize this exhibit, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This is your email thread with Mr. Tim.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Matthew, nowhere in this email thread does Mr. Tam mention falsifying test scores, right?
Oh, no, ma'am. We weren't addressing that yet.
Nowhere does he mention fake athletic profiles.
Aleyna, what do you think so far?
Yeah, this is more of a performative thing, but I think that the more that I've done crosses and jury trials, the more I've realized it's so important to just look at the jury more. Like I'm so focused on him in this moment. And I think that if I took a step back, I would have looked a lot more at the jury to show them the important points.
And on the stand, that is David Bainbridge of Patrick Henry College, who was the witness in the final round. I remember being so shocked at how dynamic you are, Aleyna, as a high school competitor in this final round. On this cross and throughout the whole trial. And I think your criticism is a valid one, but I think that's the overarching point for me.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't know if I had all of that confidence necessarily in the prior season, but I think that going to Gladiator and just going through those rounds, I got so much of an adrenaline rush and it just kept compounding on itself. And then once we realized we were in the final round, I was just like, all right, this is it. There is no, like, just throw all your cards on the table, be Aleyna. And Aleyna's a little crazy. So I think I just tried to channel some of that into mock trial.
Nowhere does Mr. Tam mention fraud in this email, correct?
No, ma'am. He doesn't.
You had a meeting with Mr. Tam on January 2nd?
That's correct.
And Mr.
So that's Travis Harper at your table there, Aleyna. Jog my memory. I don't remember how Gladiator did the witnesses in the final round. Were you able to select your witnesses?
Yep, I got to choose Travis. It was no question I was going to choose Travis. I had seen him in I think the first time we saw each other was Empire of my sophomore year, and he was an attorney. But just watching him in any position, Travis he just has something about him that everybody wants to listen to. And I got to see him as a witness, I think, earlier in Gladiator of that year. And so I was a witness against him. I was the defendant and he was whatever the prosecution witness was. And he did a really good job. And so I knew that I had to have him as my witness.
I guess he has the record of person selected most often to be the witness in a one-on-one competition because he was selected this year at Combat. Yeah. Good for Travis. I'm excited to watch the cross of him in a few minutes.
He's just such a well-rounded competitor.
Oh yeah.
He really is. And he has gotten a lot better since this competition, but he still did all the sort of the same things then that he does now. It's kind of eerie to watch it back.
Tam and his wife signed 2 checks that day, right?
Actually, it was just Mr. Tam that signed the checks.
Well, you would agree that both the Tams were at the meeting, right?
Andy was there for about 15 minutes, so I guess I could say yes.
check was written to reach for the stars. Isn't that right?
That's right.
And the other check was written to front of the classroom, correct?
That's right, the fake charity.
Let's talk about your process in getting Jewel into college.
Sure.
You testified that you contacted Dr. Chico, right?
That's right.
Mr. Tam did not contact this person?
Oh, no. That's why he hired me.
Is that a yes or no?
So I don't remember. Is there like a well in this courtroom that you guys can stand in, or were you just standing there mistakenly, Aleyna? Like, why were you standing there?
I think I've always been nervous to get too close to the witness. And I think that might be why I was standing back. But
Right.
also I think the well was a little bit small.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
was.
Abby, do you remember?
Yeah, it was small, and like if you can tell, it's so close to the judge and the witness. So I think I did the same thing. I just stood where Aleyna was.
Right. You might be right about that.
Yeah.
So this is something I wanted to ask you guys before we started watching. Were you guys surprised to be in the final round, or was it something that you, of course, you're going to try to be humble when I ask you this question, but were you expecting to be in the mix for the finals of this competition?
Not at all.
Nope. I told my parents I want to make it into the upper half. Like I want to place in the upper half of Gladiator.
Yeah, me too. I knew nothing about the competition before going to it, or like what schools compete or whatever. So in high school too, like my high school experience, we were always ballot blind. I don't think Florida even allows you during competitions to see the ballots till the end.
Yeah. Same for
So
California.
yeah, so we just kept to that tradition. My mom coached me for Gladiator, and she'd go into the little tab room, look at my scores, and she'd just come out and be like, "You're doing fine." And so I had like no clue at all.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I mean, so there were 32. I think this year there were 32 competitors. Is that right?
Sounds right to me.
I think that- so you would have been content with top 16, Aleyna.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the year before I was the alternate turned Gladiator, and I was happy with like third to last. So I was fine with upper half. I was good with that.
So you got to compete at Gladiator 3 times.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was your favorite year? This year, I guess.
For sure. And I don't even think it was because I had placed, because my senior year was fun, but it was online. And so this was the only year where I was actually a Gladiator, going in as a Gladiator and actually getting to be in a courtroom. So I think that's why it was my favorite.
Abby, how many times had you competed at Gladiator? Was this the only time?
That was the only time, my senior year. And honestly, going in, I didn't have any expectations or hopes for placement. In my mind, I was like, let's just not embarrass ourselves at our last ever high school mock trial competition. Because it was my mom going. And so like 18-year-old me was like, I have to impress her. And then it was like our teacher coach that like I adored, and she was there to watch and help and everything. So I was like, let's just not embarrass ourselves going into this.
So how did you find out about Gladiator? I mean, Aleyna, for you, I'd imagine you're in California. Justin's a mainstay there. Aleyna or Abby, how did you find out about it?
Yeah, so it was kind of like a weird situation with like Florida high school mock trial. So my team in high school, we had only ever done like our state competition. That's all we had ever done. I think my senior year, we tried Empire for the first time, just as like we learned about this, like, let's go try it. So we were doing our typical, like my senior year, we were doing our typical like state run or whatever. And my junior year, we had gotten second place at state. Years before that, we hadn't placed at all. So we had gotten second place at state. We were finally like building a great program with like good people in it. So our senior year, or my senior year, of course, the hope was to like match that or do better. So we make it to the final round of state. Like we're so excited. Like we go in, we do the round. Unlike my junior year, we walked out thinking we had won the round. So in the like award ceremony, we're thinking, oh my God, we'll be going to nationals, like prepping a case in a month, whatever. Turns out we get second place. And so of course my little senior self is like, just so heartbroken to be just done with mock trial, like realizing that that was my last competition for high school. But I think it's because we had gone to Empire, my teacher coach had received like an email about Gladiator, like, hey, you awarded as an attorney, like you're invited. And she like forwarded it to me and she was like, would you be interested in this? And I was like, yeah, like, I don't want to be done. Like, of course I'd be interested in it. Like, let's go. Like, it's a California trip. Like I had never been. So that was how I ended up there.
So maybe we're getting a little bit ahead, but since we're on the topic, I mean, how much do you think the fact that you were in this championship trial and then won the round sort of shaped you as a competitor going forward? I would imagine like when you got to Florida State, everyone sort of knew who you were and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think Honestly, like, not to be dramatic, but I really do think my Gladiator like experience was a fork in the road for my life, because like the relationships I formed, like my relationship with Justin Bernstein after that, like he's been so good to like follow up and be encouraging throughout college and help me with mock trial, and meeting people like Aleyna, Travis, David Bainbridge, like the most fantastic competitors. I think going in, because I had like zero belief in myself, walking out having like done as well as Aleyna and I did, like it just forced me to believe in myself, I think, for the first time, which is like silly and stupid and cliche, but like it's really true. I know I wouldn't have been able to do like combat in college or like be on A teams without freaking out. If I hadn't had an experience to like prove to my imposter syndrome, like, hey, you're good at this, relax. So
Aleyna, do you feel similarly about you?
Absolutely. I mean, getting to see other people from tournaments like Empire and Beach Ball Classic and just little small tournaments, of course you meet friends, but going to Gladiator and getting that far, but also meeting all of those people and getting so close with them, that's where I realized, oh, mock trial is an actual community. This is a social network. And so I think getting to do that and getting to meet all of those people, and then right after Gladiator, I'd gone to Top Mock at Furman. And so getting to see all these people across the country, not just in California, made me realize that this is something I can have forever friends in this if I stick with it. And so I think, but I definitely second what Abby said about the imposter syndrome, because I suffer from that to this day. Yeah.
And I'm sure, Aleyna, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure you can relate to this. Like my Gladiator experience, in high school, I was absolutely ridiculous and feral. I'd look up people I was going up against before I'd compete against them, know what I'm up against. Did the same thing for Gladiator. And so I'm seeing like the people invited to this competition are like David Bainbridge, who had won high school nationals like 4 times or something ridiculous, like a attorney award at every single competition, like Travis Harper, who had like been at Gladiator, placed so many times, like people that were truly phenomenal. And to get to watch them compete, like for me, seeing Aleyna that first round, I was like, oh, so this is the caliber of people. And I think what it did for my brain was making it that far in a competition where I like truly respected everybody there. You have to, it's evidence to the contrary that you don't deserve to be there when you do make it that far with people that are that good. So
yeah, no, I completely agree with everything. I was on the same boat.
Enough of that. Let's get back to Brown.
Right, yeah.
You contacted USC's golf coach to write a letter of recommendation for Drew?
That's right.
Mr. Tam didn't contact this person, correct?
No, ma'am, he didn't. That was my job.
You had someone on the inside of a testing center correct Jules' answers?
Well, there was my associate, Garrett McDonald.
Mr. Tam did not contact this person, correct?
No, ma'am. Garrett was my associate.
You also helped edit Jules' resume, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I think I definitely would have moved a little bit closer to him. And then also, I feel like I could have gone over to Travis a little bit because I keep pointing at him, but I'm not like actually engaging with him. And I think that's something that I learned in college. Like it's okay to move all around the courtroom whenever you're doing a cross or something like that.
Yeah, I think you had a lot of space to your left to use. I don't think I would have stood there. I think I would have stood behind your table or Abby's table.
Yeah.
Just for no other reason than to indicate to your judges that you understand.
Yeah. And so that he doesn't have the opportunity to look at the jury the whole time.
Right. Aleyna, you mentioned earlier that you changed a lot of your material for this round. What did you change?
Well,
Broadly.
I started with changing the theme. Like from the beginning, I knew that, and I don't remember what I changed it to, but I knew that I wanted it to be centered around the new witness. I don't remember if responsiveness was a checkbox or I don't know if it was it. Okay.
It was, yeah.
And I knew that was something that I had worked really hard to get good at. And so I wanted it to be clear that I was doing that. I'm not sure if it came across as me being responsive, but I made a point to center it around the newly added witness. And so I wanted to, narrow all of my material to kind of be complementing the responsiveness.
So when did you make those changes? Were you literally in the hallway after the announcement changing stuff, or like the night before, or what?
Yes. Once we got the additional witness, I sat down with Travis and told him this is what I want to do. And he's like, okay, let's make it happen. And so we just started changing like my statements and modifying them to add the new theme in theory. And definitely Travis helped me with that. But that pretty much the 30-minute window before the final round started.
It's funny you say that. I can picture you sitting in the hallway with Travis.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a picture of it. Yeah.
Maybe it's because I've seen the picture. That also.
Yeah, it was on my Gladiator post. The second one was me just like cross-legged on the bench, just writing stuff down, and Travis reading the affidavit.
I have so few memories from this round in this competition because I think my brain just blocked it out.
I completely blacked out. Yeah.
But the one memory I have is Aleyna standing up, doing her opening in this round, me hearing that new theme and knowing that it was only tied to that brand new witness and thinking in my brain, have fun, Abby. Like, have a good time because she just won. Like,
plot twist.
Yeah, honestly, I think you should have won it, but it was amazing. So it literally, my whole college experience, I was like, I've got to be able to do that. So
this is like one of the few trials because people and judges will always say, well, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm like, they know how it's going to go. Like the one team is clearly better, or they at least have a good idea. This was one of the very, very few exceptions to that rule. And I mean, like I can count them on one hand where I generally did not know what the outcome of the trial was going to be. And it was really difficult for me to separate you guys. I was one of the judges. That's my leg there. You'll see it in the bottom right. And genuinely did not know how the other, couple of judges were going to score. Crazy that you changed all this stuff. I guess we'll keep that in mind for the last minute of the cross.
You would say that Jules submitted this resume, right?
Well, I'm not exactly sure who submitted the resume. I did not.
Mel told you that Jules submitted that resume, right?
Well, I don't exactly know who submitted the resume.
Is it your testimony that you do not know that Jules submitted the resume?
I know, like you said, Mel told me that. I'm not sure who actually submitted it.
Well, Mr. Matthew, you worked on Jules' resume with Jewel, correct?
Well, that's right.
And Mr. Tam was not present for this?
No.
Throughout all of your fraudulent business and getting Jewel into college, Mr. Tam wasn't present when you contacted any of these people, correct?
Well, no. That's what I was paid to do.
Is that a yes to my question?
No, I mean, yes, it is.
Thank you. No further questions.
That was great.
Yeah.
Really good. Like short and sweet. What do you think, Aleyna? Watching it back for the first time in almost 4 years.
I was honestly a little bit surprised with the witness control I had at that point because I thought that I had learned that later on. But I think I was pretty happy with that cross. I think that I did a good job. Something that I probably would change just to make it a little cleaner is shortening the questions a bit and maybe not using big words like fraudulent.
Yeah, I thought it was overall really good. The thing I liked best about it is I think it was performed really well.
Mm-hmm.
I like your tone, like you said, your forcefulness with David. And I thought the tone was correct for this kind of cross. I thought it was really good. And watching it back is exactly as good as I remember it. So my memory is still very good.
I did not remember that cross, so now I always remember.
There it is. So next we're going to watch Abby's cross of Travis, who played the defendant. So Abby, at this point in the trial, Aleyna has done 2 crosses because there was an extra prosecution witness.
Yeah.
Did you feel like things were going well? Did you feel like it was sort of really close? What were your thoughts?
Honestly, I don't remember beyond telling myself, have fun. Like truly, I remember the words have fun, like spanning through my brain at that point, like after the theme flip in the opening. So I wasn't, and that's one thing about me in high school, being ballot blind all throughout. I really wasn't thinking about the results. Like I really was thinking about what is right in front of me, not embarrassing myself. So that's what I was thinking at this point. I think I was just trying to do the best cross I could,
So you had David next to you the whole trial. Were you guys talking at all?
Was he next to me the whole time or was he behind? I think he might've been behind me.
Oh, interesting. Maybe I can't really, well, I guess I could have seen. He's not next to you, so you didn't really talk to him. You talked to him.
Yeah, I did. I was up there all alone. So scary.
Why did you choose David?
Like I said, going into the competition, I knew no one. So my rounds, I think my 3rd round or maybe my 4th round before the semis, I had Matthew Kaplan was like my witness, I believe, or maybe I was his or something. We ended up competing in the semifinals against each other. And so I asked him, because I knew no one after that point, we had just competed twice together. I was like, hey, like when I heard that I was moving on, I was like, will you be my witness? And he was like, I can't, like I don't know if he was like flying out or if he had like, he fully could not be there. And he was like, but David Bainbridge, like ask him. And so I was like, who is that? Like, where is he? So I asked him and he was so kind to do it. And he's fantastic, as you know, but.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch this crossback.
Yeah. I'm terrified already.
And there I am, and I still have that flannel. I still have those shoes.
That in 2016, your daughter Jewel was going to be applying for college.
That's true.
And you testified that you were familiar with this process.
I was. We have an older daughter, Sharon, and she ended up going to NYU.
And you knew, because of your older daughter, how much typical college admissions consulting would cost.
Sure. Around $15,000.
No more than $10,000 or $15,000.
Yeah, like I just said.
It's true that you reached out to Spencer Matthew in December of 2015.
Right. Off of a recommendation for legitimate college consulting.
When you reached out to Mr. Matthew, it was through email.
Right.
And he informed you that his services could cost up to 6 figures.
That's true.
10 times the amount of what your understanding was to be legitimate college admissions consulting.
Yes. But I was planning on negotiating with him in the meeting.
Okay. First of all, I'll just say that this is really painful to watch because it's myself in high school. I think critiques already for myself are that, first of all, I think my voice has gotten a lot deeper, or at least I've deepened it. I don't know why it sounds so high to me right now. That's one
We're
thing.
babies.
I know.
You
were so
sound like a younger version of yourself.
Yeah, way younger though. I don't know. Interesting.
You guys do both look like substantially younger in this video, which
Yeah.
sounds like an obvious thing, but it wasn't like 20 years ago. It was like 5 years ago. It was like not even 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You both look substantially different.
Yeah.
What else?
I understand. I think I'm channeling like 18-year-old Abby, and I understand what she was trying to do with like the beginning of this cross. But I think I'm like in the beginning too smiley. Like this is a defendant cross, first of all. I know I was trying to like walk him into stuff, but too smiley. And the head nodding is like so distracting, at least to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking myself, but I just, at least I'm moving around. Good for you, Abby. But like beyond that, I just don't know that points are being made yet.
See, I feel like I kind of disagree with the whole happiness thing, because I feel like that is your style as an attorney. Like you as an attorney are going to reel the defendant in with, oh, I'm a nice attorney. I'm not going to grill you on anything, or I'm not going to catch you on anything. And then you just hammer them with the question. I think that's your style. So
yeah, that could be it too. Maybe it's just changed a bit like through college. And so seeing this, I'm like, oh my God.
Part of it's Travis too. Like it'd be really hard to go after him the way he's playing the witness.
Oh yeah.
I mean, certain people would play this witness a little bit differently, and then it'd be more appropriate, but it's just difficult here with the way he's portraying the witness, which is why it's so good.
Yep.
This is like kind of unrelated, but didn't Travis drop the Law and Order SVU thing in his intro to the direct, right?
He did. Yeah. So when you said that at the beginning of the episode, I was wondering if Travis, so for those who were wondering, at the beginning of the direct, Travis's like backstory is that he's the voiceover actor for the Law and Order like intro. And he says the thing that Abby had said she had memorized.
Yeah, another moment where I was like, "Have fun, Abby." Like they're taking it.
Was he like trying to get in your head? Like what was
probably? And he's amazing. Like that's
he was like a pretty big coincidence.
No, it was I could bet money that it was intentional. I had no idea who was going to do it though, so I was trying not to laugh when he.
Oh, you think it was intentional, Aleyna?
Yeah, I think it was intentional.
For sure.
Interesting. So you think he wasn't doing that in the preliminary round, that he was this witness, or he was this?
No,
witness?
I think that he just made it up to like do a little nod to Abby.
Yeah.
That just feels very Travis to do that.
What a deep cut Easter egg for all the nerds out there. Love it.
The response was price is not a concern.
Right. I was planning on negotiating with him in the meeting.
Your response was, please keep this confidential.
Right. I ask for client confidentiality in everything that I do.
I know you'd like to talk about that meeting that you had with Mr. Matthew, so I'd like to talk to you about it, January 2nd of 2016. You met with Mr. Matthew and you paid him, right?
I met with him, yes, and I paid him for college consulting.
You
$10,000.
Yes, you testified about the 2 checks that you made out to Mr. Matthew.
Right, I did.
You made out one to reach for the stars.
I love the checks in the evidence bag.
That's true.
That's one thing high school Abby was. She was prepared.
Seriously, yeah.
I
Did everyone do that with the checks?
don't remember.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah.
Interesting. I just think the high school and college teams, like one of the things that's just better about high school and college is they're just like, they care way more about that kind of stuff, the attention to detail and the theatrics and stuff, and it just makes it more fun. I appreciate it.
I feel like that's why people get into mock trial to begin with, like for the performative side of it. And then they kind of, as they go on, that's when they figure out, oh, I want to go into the legal field. And so maybe that's when it gets a little bit more focused on that. But at least for me, I knew I liked public speaking and I knew I liked being dramatic. And so I thought that it would be fun to combine those two. So I think that might be why that goes into more high school and college.
It might be. It might be. I also just think that's one of the things that like high school and college do better. It's just better. Like it doesn't, I don't think you transition to being more of like a real lawyer and you're like cutting checks out of the paper is stupid and putting them in bags. Like that's childish. I just think they don't care about that stuff as much. And maybe they should, but that's a conversation for another podcast.
College admissions consulting.
Yes.
And then you made out the other one to his charity
Yes, I did.
for $140,000.
Right.
By the way, talk about nerve wracking. I am terrified that I'm going to like pick my nose or do something really weird that I didn't, because I've never watched this before and everyone's going to know and I'm going to be embarrassed. So I'm like, I can't even like focus on the performance. I'm just like looking at myself, touching my face, I'm going to do something totally weird.
I know. I'm just like waiting, like what is about to come out of my mouth? Like I don't remember this at all.
I wish I had not sat in that chair. Like literally any other chair would have been fine. Really unfortunate.
That's true, Mr. Tam, but this wasn't a charity you had ever donated to before.
No, I'd never met Spencer Matthew before, so I'd never heard of his charity. But I donated to charities plenty of times in the past.
Yes or no, Mr. Tam, those checks that you paid to Spencer Matthew did total $150,000.
Yes, but they were completely unrelated. One was for college consulting, and the other was for a donation.
Thank you, Mr. Tam, but that wasn't my question. Yes or no, those checks together totaled $150,000.
Good witness control.
Yes, they did.
It's true that you received a psychiatrist letter,
Yes, I did.
and this letter was forwarded to standardized testing agencies.
I believe so, yes.
It got your daughter extra time on her SAT.
Right. It made sense. I knew Jewel was brilliant ever since she was a little girl. And her PSAT scores didn't match what I saw.
So you forwarded this letter to standardized testing agencies. You agree with me that on the top of this letter it says Atlanta, Georgia,
Right. My hometown.
and you lived in California at the time, right?
Right.
And the letter also states that this psychiatrist met with your daughter,
Yes.
and it states that the psychiatrist performed tests on your daughter using reliable principles and methods, right?
Sure. I couldn't tell you what those are.
And you agree with me the psychiatrist is not based in the state that you were living in at the time?
No, but with Spencer, he was the one that got the appointment for Jewel.
This is
I knew
funny
everything from
watching this back in the era of Zoom, because at the time I was like, this is such an amazing point. Like they'll never see it coming. Like it's so great. And now it's like, yeah, I Zoom conferenced, like, you know.
Right. Like routinely, like my clients in real life are examined by people out of state. It's interesting you bring that up, because what I thought the point that you were trying to make there was like they had to bring in this like out of state doctor to do this because they couldn't find someone locally because it was fraudulent.
Yeah. And I think probably that was part of it too.
Which maybe unintentionally ended up working out for you? Because I think that's a common thing that you see in real trial work.
Yeah.
Like, here's the out-of-state hired gun because they
Right.
couldn't find someone from Pennsylvania to support their case.
Yeah. I think honestly, rewatching this cross, I think at this point in the cross, Travis is just so amazing that I think I was doing those little filler questions of like, let me just try to make this look unreasonable or unbelievable. Because that's about what I could do. He was twisting everything in like the perfect way. So
Right.
Yeah, and I will say that I didn't just choose Travis because he's an amazing witness, but I also knew just with his character that he would be a really good defendant. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that that's showing on this cross right now because he just wiggles out of the questions. And these are like the narrowest questions that you could ask this defendant. And so I
Mhm.
think that, not to brag, but smart decision choosing Travis for the defendant.
Absolutely.
He also, there's a striking resemblance between the way that he plays this witness and the way that he plays the witness in the final round from April
Yeah.
in the championship trial for nationals. Just like, and I know it was a different way. I think it was a prosecution like cooperating witness in that trial, but just like really sympathetic, difficult to cross, disabling in terms of his tone. It's weird to think that it's so eerie that he did basically the same thing several years earlier as a high school competitor in this championship trial. It's really good.
Wasn't he a witness in the final round of Nats too?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if you were talking about TBC.
Which at the time, I think I've said this on the show, but at the time I was like, I cannot believe that Harvard selected the non-Travis side for the championship trial.
Yeah, I was shocked.
I think everyone was, but they're laughing at us now. But I think it's just because he's such a weapon as a witness. Do you think he's a better witness or attorney? And maybe that, I don't want that to sound like you're being critical of one of his roles. I'm more asking like, he's obviously amazing at both. Like, what do you think he's better at?
I feel like it's a tough question because you have to think relative to other teams. And I stand by the belief that witnesses make or break rounds, especially when you're in a high power round. And so honestly, as much as I was surprised, I think it was the smart decision to make him a witness because I think it's more important to have a standout witness than a standout attorney in the final round of Nats.
I think he might be a better witness, which is the reason I asked the question. And he's obviously an amazing attorney, but he's a really difficult to
he stands out as a witness. Yeah.
And I guess it sort of depends on what your teammates can do. And do you have a lot of good witnesses? Do you have a lot of good attorneys? And he can do both at a very high level, as we've seen. But I don't know. What do you think, Abby?
I think I've only had the opportunity to see him as a witness. I think I got to see him as an attorney one time at a fall invitational our freshman year. So my like recollection of that round is like not as strong. So I don't think I've been able to see him as an attorney a whole bunch, but the witnessing is, insane and next level. So
yeah, I will speak to his attorneying for a second though, because I've gotten the pleasure to see both. And I actually scrimmaged him for this Gladiator as an attorney. And at that age, he had the casual, conversational, but yet passionate closing that he carries through to this day. And I got to watch him at TBC in the semis and same thing. He's just one of those attorneys that does mock trial in the non-mock voice. They do it so real and he's so passionate about what he's speaking about.
Okay. Also, sorry, just really quick. That was an absolute lie. I competed against him at Gladiator. In one of the rounds, literally, I'm telling you, I blocked this whole experience out of my brain. I competed against him and the reason I would have blocked that out of my brain is because it would have been another round where I was like, have fun, Abby. Like you lost, like he's so great. So,
but you won, right?
Well, I think I had to have moved on.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, 18-year-old Abby was constantly.
I wish that round was on video. That would be like a classic to have. Now.
No, he was amazing. So.
I totally forgot what I was going to say. So
sorry. I had to amend my previous statement. Can't slander Travis. Like he's amazing.
I'd like to move on to another part of your daughter's application. It's true that she never played high school sports.
No.
Specifically never high school golf.
Of course not.
You're aware that a resume was submitted on her behalf to college.
Right.
And this resume contained high school golf achievements.
Yes. I had never seen that resume until I was in an FBI interrogation.
It's true, Mr. Tam, that in 2019 you got a call from Spencer Matthew.
Yes, I did. I was so confused by what he was talking about.
You told him you were aware of the college admissions scandal that had just broken.
That's not exactly what I said in the fact.
I feel like I remember objections being really hard in this round because Abby's material was so clean that if I remember correctly, I think I made one objection in that round
Yeah,
because
there were like
yeah.
2 or 3 at most.
I think I made a lack of foundation and it got overruled because the material was just so clean. I mean, it is a final round, so it's difficult.
There were a couple best evidence objections, but other than that, I think there was like maybe one other.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
really-
also just to speak to like my 18-year-old preparation for this, like again, I was nothing if not prepared for mock trial competitions. I think because of the imposter syndrome, like I overcompensated on the front end. So that could speak to like why it was, and your material was also rock solid. But I will say that did hinder me in a lot of key areas, like watching back this cross. I'm relying so much on my script. Like I'm not following up in the ways I know to do in college. I'm not, doing the witness control that I know to do because I'm just not as comfortable in myself as I was in my script. So I think that's one key difference of like myself now versus in high school.
Now I remember what I was going to say. Aleyna, you said that you scrimmaged Travis this year
No, it was for Gladiator.
for,
For that year.
for Gladiator 19. Did
Yeah.
you guys scrimmage when he got to California, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I don't remember how we had kind of linked up, but I had his contact information and I had Liam Simpkins Walker's contact information. He was Atlanta International's coach at the time. And I think we just hit it off at a certain tournament, maybe Gladiator the year before, but we had just decided that it would be really fun to scrimmage each other. And so I think it was that Friday morning that we were all flying in. He had come and we had just scrimmaged and gave great feedback to each other. So it was a really fun scrimmage.
Where did you guys scrimmage?
In the hotel. It was one of the conference rooms in the hotel.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
So he sort of flew in. You guys had like a pre-tournament scrimmage.
Yep.
Because this is like before the era of Zoom, so you couldn't do a Zoom scrimmage.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
guys
it was
actually
completely in person. I think he had just landed. I had the pleasure of only driving 2 hours, but so yeah.
Who was your coach, Aleyna?
My coach was my high school coach, Brett Dobson. He was Centennial's coach. And then also we had an attorney coach, Leanne Scheidemann. She was Leanne Wilder at the time, but she had come and watched too. So I had the two of them helping me out.
Informed Mr. Matthew that you were aware, I believe your exact words were, it's all you and your wife have been talking about, right?
Your Honor, that's evidence.
There it is.
Your Honor, may I respond? I'm not quoting from specific wires. I'm not intending to introduce the entire piece of evidence. Simply, I'm getting into the statements of a party opponent, which is the defendant in this case.
Your Honor, may I respond? Yes. Your Honor, opposing counsel just took a direct statement from Exhibit 12, the transcript of the phone call, and if opposing counsel is going to refer to a specific content in the exhibit, I ask that
I need to slow down.
Same with me.
Necessary. The witness has independent knowledge of the phone call because it was a business. So the fact that counsel is drawing information from that source doesn't make it as evidence. No rule.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's true that you said you were aware of the college admissions scandal that had just broken on national news, right?
Right. It was all over the news. Everyone knew about it.
And you said that you were relieved that Spencer Matthews' name was not on the indictment form.
Yes.
You said that you understood what to do if the FBI contacted you.
Right. I just have to tell them the truth that Spencer Matthew hired me for admissions consultant. Simple as that.
During this phone call, Mr. Tam, Spencer Matthew asked you how much your daughter knew,
Right.
and you replied, "Don't worry about what Jewel knows."
Yes. Because at that point, I didn't know what Spencer Matthew was talking about. And the only thing I wanted to make sure of is that he didn't drag my daughter into it.
But Mr. Tam, that wasn't your response to Mr. Matthew. You didn't ask.
That was so
what you were
good.
talking about, right?
I was gonna say, if I didn't do
told
that,
them,
I
"Don't
would have
worry about
reprimanded
it."
myself.
So I think watching this back with the perspective that you won the trial I think that was the moment where you won. Maybe that sounds kind of crazy, but this cross, and I think like that part of the cross is where it was like, okay, it's a really advanced skill to like listen and adapt in the moment. And of course you're probably thinking like, it'd be so easy for you to do that now, but you're a high school competitor.
Yeah.
You don't see high school competitors doing that kind of thing that much. I think that was the point in time where it's looking back, it felt like maybe you were going to win the round. Did you feel similarly?
Me? No, I think again, I was in survival mode the whole time. And I think also what maybe judges in that round didn't realize about the reactivity is that Aleyna's stuff was so different. Like, I don't know what perspective the judges had on like our new witness and like whether or not they knew that was in the packet or how much time we had to prep it or whatever. So I'm sitting there terrified that Aleyna's rewritten an entire case in 20 minutes. But our judges may not have known that. So
yeah, I think the thing about being reactive or responsive in the competition setting is it needs to be obvious that you're being reactive.
Yeah, that's true.
So like sometimes like my teams will like respond to something that's said in the opening. But if it's not painfully obvious that you're responding to something that was said in the opening, no one's going to get it.
Yeah.
You have to make it very explicit that they said this, and it has to be something that only could have been said in this particular trial.
Yeah.
And so maybe, I mean, I'll confess that at the time, I just thought Aleyna was good. It didn't seem to me like, oh, this must be, other than the new witness stuff, but it didn't seem like, oh, this must be new. I just thought it was good, and really good and performed well. So that's a fair point. What did you think, Aleyna?
Yeah, I think that I wasn't even thinking about, I want to win this at that point. And I know that that's what everybody says when they make it to the final round. But truthfully, when I was in there, I was just so happy that I was there because I didn't think that I was going to make it to the finals. And so just being in that final round, I was just having so much fun that I remember when they called Abby's name as the winner, I like jumped up in my seat and started clapping because I was just so happy that it was over, that we had made it.
Yeah. When Justin said in that like final speech when he's like talking about results, like in my brain again, it was, oh, Aleyna won, like congrats to Aleyna, like get ready to clap or whatever. He said something about like first from outside of California. And at that point I knew Aleyna was from California.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what? I was like, that's wrong. And so you can see like in the video, the shock on my face. I'm like, oh my God, like I see her standing up. I'm like, oh my God, like what?
The Miss Universe error.
Yeah.
So that he didn't drag her into whatever he was doing.
At some point, Mr. Matthew asked you if you told Jewel that you had changed your scores, right?
Yes.
And your response wasn't, what are you talking about?
Well, I did say that.
You did, your testimony is that you said, what are you talking about?
In that phone call, I said, I don't know what this is all about.
But your response to that question was not, what are you talking about? Your response was, I need to talk to Andy, right?
Right, because I was confused. And I wanted to see if Andy knew anything about it, and when she didn't, I just said I didn't know.
Other problem about sitting so close to the camera is if you watch the entire video, you can literally see what my ballot was. So someone like you can see where I checked which side. So if someone could, go back, watch the whole trial, recreate my ballot, publish it on the internet, and make one of these two people not like me anymore.
Just blur it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get my production team on it.
This was all about.
You didn't ask, what are you talking about changing?
I don't know what I could be writing.
No.
Instead, you hung up that phone call quickly, right?
I am hungry.
Right, probably.
Yeah, I hung up the phone.
The best part about going to competitions where Sue Johnson is on the host team is so I don't remember when this was, but one of the first competitions where I was there and we were on the host team together, she had like toffee from North Carolina, and she had some. So I took it and I ate a bunch of it. So now every time I see her, she has toffee for me, like an entire box.
Oh,
that's so sweet.
So I say to say this, either this was the first time I'd had the toffee, or I had my own box. So I probably I'm always hungry, so I probably was hungry. But there's also that.
That was the first thing I thought of once the adrenaline had worn off. I was just thinking, I am so hungry right now because I don't think I'd eaten a full meal that day just because of everything that was going on.
Yeah. So at Top Gun in 2018, they were waiting to start the live stream, and everyone was mic'd up. The judges were sitting, and I was off camera with a Cliff Bar, just like eating. And they're like, "We ready?" And I'm like, "One second." All right, we're good. Start the live stream. It's
That's
like you
so
are
funny.
at the end of these one-on-ones. It is so draining that you just like want to die if you are fortunate enough to be in the final round of these competitions. It's insane. It's hard to describe how tiring it is.
I had the best Panda Express of my life after that round, though.
Aw.
I will.
Oh my god, isn't that like the perfect meal to like end
Yeah.
a long
Yes.
like Panda? I wish there was a Panda Express near Baylor that year. That'd be great. That was the end of the cross. What do you think, Abby?
I don't know. It's like really surreal to go back and watch something that old. Like I think I've obviously changed so much as a competitor and a person. But it's nice to see like stylistically, I've kept true to, some of the core things that I knew to do in high school and the way I was trained and all that stuff. I think towards the end of the cross, I understand what I was doing with like the smiley, nice stuff at the beginning. So,
I
but
thought it was great, and like I said, I think the cross was the reason it ended up going your way. But
yeah.
with that, I want to watch. You guys mentioned the announcement, so I think we should watch the announcement. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
This is our 5th Gladiator Championship. This is our 3rd consecutive all-female final round.
Oh, yes.
We are delighted to have such outstanding competitors in this final round. They worked spectacularly. This is what a final round should look like. You two are the reason we run this event. Performances like that, performances like those from our witnesses are the reason that we run this event, and we are grateful that you worked this hard and shared your talents with us today. I am delighted to announce, in a split decision, in a very close round, we have our first winner from the outside of California, Miss Abby Branham.
The camera will pan eventually.
At that point, I was like,
You guys,
I-
I mean, I know I keep saying it, but you guys look so different. It's like
we look so young.
so crazy to me.
I have not grown since
And there-
that day.
And there's Jess in the bottom left of the
Oh,
frame.
yeah.
yes, cameo.
It is so crazy. It is so crazy to think about how far, like the 4 of us in that round have come, like
I
throughout
know.
It
college.
is.
Like that's so sweet.
It really is.
Thank you everybody for coming. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next year.
Isn't it crazy just reliving that?
Yeah.
It's like, not that I want to get super philosophical here, but it's like hard to like imagine that we were all like there 4 years ago, and like I hadn't met you
Yes.
guys yet, and we're
Yep.
4 years later, and all that you guys have accomplished since, and it really is just amazing. And it's not over yet. You guys still have a little bit left in your mock trial careers in the undergraduate level and in the law school level, hopefully.
I will say that was the only time I met Abby in person. We have not
Yeah.
seen each other in person since
Wow,
that day.
really?
Until Aleyna and I are hoping to end up in the same law school. We'll
And
see.
maybe be
if
roommates.
I was
Yeah.
going to ask
Yeah.
about that. So you're stealing my thunder here.
Oh,
So
sorry.
you guys are both going to do law school, obviously, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. And you're potentially doing it together. Is that true?
We would love to.
Where's it going to be?
Aleyna, why don't you?
Not for
We-
public consumption.
We did both just get accepted to UCLA, which we are very excited about.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we're
Crazy.
scheming.
Yes, of course we're scheming. It's just, yeah, that's one of those things where like I look back at Gladiator and just even the circumstances of me getting there, like missing my flight, or our flight got canceled like because of some storm or something, and showing up late and like not knowing anybody, and just that I feel that was the catalyst for so many things. And it's so sweet and cool to see it be such a full circle, like Aleyna and I talking about being at law school, competing together, like
Yeah.
being roommates, like Justin Bernstein, like running that competition, me meeting him for the first time, and then, oh my God, being coached by him would be a dream.
Yeah.
So just, yeah, cool full circle for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I mean, the thought of it's be crazy. You guys have not seen each other since that round and in
I know.
person, and you guys showing up on the same campus together next fall, like that would
Oh
be
my God. Oh, my
bizarre.
dream.
Yeah, like stuff out of a movie.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Totally kick Drexel's head in at nationals in a couple of years. We're happy, but we're happy to have it
I don't know
happen.
about that.
That'd be really awesome. Is it so, Abby? Is it possible you stay in Florida?
For law school, you
Yeah.
mean? My hope would really be to not stay in Florida. It's been, obviously very formative. I am who I am because of where I grew up and everything, but I would love to have the experience of being outside of Florida. I feel like I changed so much as a person just being 5 hours from home in undergrad. So I know I would being out of state as well.
Have you guys, if either of you guys decided yet, or are you still sort of mulling options?
I feel like it's still really early right now.
Yeah.
But definitely when we both found out we got accepted, we were freaking out a little bit because we have gotten so much closer. And so it would be really fun. And I
Don't-
also would love to see her dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't tempt me to pack my bags and move to LA and join
Hey.
the faculty at UCLA.
Everyone in that
mean-
round should just come. We should do a
Yeah.
huge reunion.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Where does this trial rank for you two in terms of the most special rounds of your career? Is it up there? Is it number one?
Yeah, number one for me, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard for it not to be. And it just, what a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I feel really lucky that I got to play a small part in it and just be in the room and stuff. Got a couple more important questions for you guys. So Abby, I know this from being the host of Combat and being at all those opening ceremonies. You are the resident Taylor Swift fan. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, Aleyna too. Like,
Aleyna, are you a fan
who's
also?
not a Taylor Swift
I am a
fan?
Swiftie.
That's also
Yeah.
true. Yeah. So I need give me your 30-second review of the album.
Oh my God, amazing, inspiring, perfect, flawless. She's the music industry. Like, what is there to say? She's the best.
What's the best song on the album?
Oh God, you can't do this to me. I think my personal favorite, and there's reasons for it, The Great War is like so meaningful for me. I love it.
If someone says that one of the two hits on the album are their favorite song, do you take issue with that or no?
Like if they pick favorites.
No, I'm saying there's the two songs that are like the hits of the album.
Oh, no, I think there's levels in Swiftie. And I think it's totally respectable to be like a casual Taylor Swift observer and fan. So if they pick like the most popular, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
As long as they're listening.
Yeah, exactly.
it has a much different sound than I think her other albums.
Yes. Different than I was expecting as well.
No,
But-
same.
And all
Yeah.
the songs sort of have a similar sort of different sound than the other albums. And I guess that's I guess that's not that we're going to make this like a music show now, but we can
Yeah.
for a minute. Why not? And I guess isn't that like the point of an album for for you to tell a consistent story
Yes.
through the album? Like that's the point.
To me, when I like listen to music and like rank albums in my mind, like this one just feels like a work of art. Like it's cohesive, but each song is so unique. Like, and of course it is. She's phenomenal. But
And I feel like it's been a long time coming because I feel like I read an article about this, but she's been so busy re-recording. And then with Folklore and Evermore, she was telling a story of outside people and creating her own narrative. And so this was the first album that is really about her, completely new, combining all the past eras, past relationships, past troubles into Midnights. And so I think that's what really made this such a special album.
Aleyna, when we roomed together in law school, can we put up like a Taylor Swift tapestry in the living room?
Please.
Okay,
I am begging.
Great.
What's the best Taylor Swift album?
Okay, to be completely honest, I was not a full Swiftie until I got to college because I liked the classics, Our Song, You Belong With Me, Love Story.
Mhm.
And then my friends on the mock trial team got me into Taylor Swift. And so like Folklore was my entry into the Swiftie nation. And so I think Folklore is really special to me.
Yeah. I think Midnights just came at such an interesting time in my life. Like Red will always hold a lot of memories for me, but Midnights being fall of my senior year, especially like the songs, I just feel like they're soundtrack to life songs, like transitioning from one stage of life to the next. So this one's meaningful, I think.
What's yours, Phil?
What's my favorite album?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know the names of them, but I can picture the covers.
Okay.
fair.
what is the album that has, this is such a random Taylor Swift song, so don't laugh at me, but what is the album that has Welcome to New York on it?
Oh, 1989.
89.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That one's good.
That's probably mine. What's the worst one? Is that like heresy to ask that question?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Come on, there's gotta be one that you think is really bad. Or okay, not bad. It's just like you're just okay.
I think she's changed a lot in her career. So it's interesting to see how good she's gotten, but I would never categorize one of them as bad or subpar to the others. I think it's just her stages of life.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could say I used to not like Reputation because I didn't actually listen to the whole album. And then I listened to the whole album and I completely love it now.
One other Taylor Swift note. So do you guys ever watch NPR Tiny Desk?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? So Taylor Swift's NPR Tiny Desk is excellent. It might be the
Yes.
best. It might be the best one.
Agree.
Harry
Highly
Styles is
recommend.
pretty good too.
Who's?
Harry Styles, NPR Tiny Desk.
Oh, interesting.
Pretty
I haven't
good.
seen a ton of them. I've seen like ones of artists I like. So okay, interesting. One more question, I guess specifically for you, Aleyna. Do you think you'll apply for Trial by Combat?
Yes, I am planning on it. I mean, I would like to, perform well throughout the season so that I have some evidence to back up my application, but I would like to apply, especially because this is my last year, it's now or never.
Evidence to back it up.
Yeah. Your application should just be Abby's phone number on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime.
Or a link to this video.
Yeah.
Now that we know it exists.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that'd be really awesome. It'd be really cool for you to come full circle and compete there as an advocate. And hopefully by the time this comes out, Justin and I have announced something really cool that we're doing this year to shake up the combat tournament a little bit that I think people are going to really like. And I think I've said it on the show before, but maybe not. It was sort of something that I called Justin one day and I said, wouldn't it be crazy if we did this? And he said, why not? Why don't we just do it? So I'm really pumped to announce it. I think we're going to announce it sometime in the next month or so. But I think you guys are going to really like it. So thank you guys for coming on. I hope you guys, I'm excited to have you back on the show. Abby, you're a recurring guest, and Aleyna, you're going to become a recurring guest on the show. I'm really excited that we did this. Good luck with the rest of your season, Aleyna, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys competing on the law school circuit.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Thanks for having us.